Okay, so it's nighttime, but we're going to do the first 2 chapters of Vega and the Fashion Disaster tonight. But first, I need to show you the artwork for this book. Okay, so here's Sage, Libby, and Leona. Sage, Libby, Leona. And then you open the book to the very back, and there's their wish world forms. They're beautiful. Okay. And now, Vega, Scarlet, and Cassie. And then you flip all the way to the back. And here's their wish world forms. Okay. Vega and the Fashion Disaster. Sorry. They have a bunch of student reports, like... There's Clover, Adora, Piper, Astra, Tessa, Gemma, Cassie, Leona, Vega, Libby, Scarlet, Sage. Okay. The introduction just tells us what we already know. Okay, so the prologue actually isn't a prologue. It's a crossword. So, 3 across is student who went on second mission and identified the wrong wish at first. 4 down was replaced by another student named Blank. 7 across, student who went on first mission and identified wrong wisher at first. 9 across, had mistress of Starling Academy. She came up with the secret plan to send 12 students to Wish World to collect wish energy. 10 across, there were band tryouts and a machine called the Blank chose the members. It also named the band the Star Darlings. That made 9 across very upset, as it gave up our secret name. 1 down, this means student wanted to be lead singer of the band, but she lost. I don't think we've heard the end of it. 2 down. The head of admissions. She stutters when nervous and trips a lot. Everyone feels a little sorry for her. 4 down. It was determined that this student's assignment as a Star Darling was a mistake and she was replaced. 6 down. All the Star Darlings who have tasted this Wish World drink love it. 6 down. Student who went on third mission, her wish pennant was mysteriously ruined. She did not collect any wish energy. That's literally it for the prologue. I'm dead serious about this. Hold on. I bet I could fill this in because I'm not planning on giving this to anyone else. But I'm not kidding. That's literally all it is. Vega's really into puzzles, don't ask. Chapter 1. Vega sat on her neatly made bed, staring at the hollow crossword puzzle projected into the air above her stars app. We haven't heard anything from the second years. Damn! Like, we've heard from 2 first years and a third year. This is the first second year we're getting. With 2 flicks of her wrist, she switched the position of 2 answers, then frowned and returned them to their original places. She nodded, finally satisfied. It was perfect. Vega loved creating puzzles almost as much as she enjoyed solving them. She appreciated crosswords, riddles, puzzles, brain teasers, mazes, and games. Anything that challenged her and made her think in a fun and interesting way. With another flick of her wrist, she erased all the answers, leaving the clues in a blank grid ready to be filled in. She took a look at her handiwork and sighed. The real joy in creating a puzzle was sharing it with someone. She wished she could send it to her best friend from home, Enna, who loved games just as much as she. The 2 girls had even made up a secret hollow alphabet they had both memorized so that they could communicate privately. What looked like gibberish to their classmates back at Kaleidoscope Falls Elementary might be a complex message about after-school plans or the guest list for Anna's upcoming birthday. Sure, Vega belonged to Starling Academy's puzzle club, which met after school every dodo day and was filled with like-minded students. It was the first club she had joined since arriving at the school 2 years before. But the secret nature of the Star Darlings made this crossword something she could not share with anyone except them. So there were only 11 girls she could share it with. And unfortunately, none of them were particularly interested in brain teasers. In fact, they seemed to think Vega's obsession was a little weird. It happened just a star week or two earlier that she and Leona had found themselves sitting across from each other at lunchtime in the Celestial Cafe. After they had ordered their meals from the hovering bot waiter, Vega had turned to Leona excitedly and said, let's guess whose food will arrive first. And Leona had just laughed. Everything is a game with you, Vega, isn't it? She said. Vega had blinked at her in surprise. It was, and why not? Games made life more interesting. She didn't get why the other girls didn't understand that. Not that she wasn't serious-minded. Quite the contrary. She was as focused on her studies as a starling could be. But she could make studying into a game, too. I was wondering why things were blurry. Where's my glasses? Okay, anyway. As she recalled the conversation, Vega realized that was one of the last times she had heard Leona laugh. Leona's wish mission had been a terrible disappointment. See 8 down. Whew. Although she had successfully granted her wisher's wish, Leona's wish pendant had malfunctioned, and when she returned to Starland, she had discovered that it was blackened and burnt looking. Give me a minute, I need to catch my breath. Okay. As a result, Leona hadn't collected a single drop of wish energy. The usually vivacious girl had been sad and withdrawn ever since. Lady Stella had done her best to convince her it wasn't her fault, but Leona was set on blaming herself. Lady Stella told everyone to keep attending class, including their special Star Darlings, only class at the end of each school day. Learning their lessons and going on their wish missions as planned, the headmistress would be working with some leading wish energy scientists and some trusted faculty members to figure out what had gone wrong with Leona's wish pendant. Okay, fixed it. I think a cat knocked it over. And how to fix it. Hopefully they would figure it out soon. Vega's bass guitar was in its Cerulean case, leaning in the corner of the exceptionally neat bedroom. She imagined that it was looking at her reproachfully as the Star Darlings band hadn't had a rehearsal in a week because of their lead singer's absence during her wish mission. They had one scheduled for that day. Would Leona show up? Vega certainly hoped so. They were already down one member due to Scarlet's ouster from the Star Darlings, see 4 down, and Vega feared that the additional loss of their lead singer would mean the end of the group. Vega glanced down at her stars app. It was nearly time for practice, and she realized she wanted to be on her way there before her roommate got back from meditation club. Why does it feel like I bit my lip? Vega's strong desire to vacate the premises surprised her. She stood up quickly and smoothed the blue coverlet, which was unnecessary, as its edges were pulled so tightly you could bounce a warfle on it. She knew because she had tried. Vega's roommate Piper kept her side of the room just as neat as Vega's, and Vega counted her lucky stars every day for that. But that's where the similarity ended. Piper's side was dreamy and ethereal, with a gently undulating water bed covered with the softest of linens and more pillows than you could count, the largest embroidered with the word dream. Her star-painted dresser contained more nightgowns and pajamas than regular clothes. Vega was sure of it. She had not seen her roommate wear the same thing twice to bed. Vega stole a quick glance at the mirror hanging on her closet door. Neatly bobbed blue hair, smooth and shiny. Electric blue jacket, sparkly tunic, leggings, and soft ankle boots. She was crisp, polished, and neat as a pin, as usual. She grabbed her bass and turned her head out of the room. The door slid open. Too late. Piper stood in the doorway, blinking at Vega in her usual sleepy fashion. Her seafoam green hair rippled down her back, past her waist. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so out of breath right now. She was tall and slender, and whenever Vega looked at her, she couldn't help but thinking of a graceful, flowing waterfall. "Hey," said Vega. "Hello there," said Piper languidly. She smiled slowly and sighed contentedly. "Meditation club was tremendously relaxing today." She swiveled her head around and shrugged a couple of times. "I feel like a wet noodle. That's literally what it's called. I feel like a wet noodle. Literally noodle twice. "Like I could just collapse in a heap." "Maybe you need a nap," Vega suggested sarcastically. Piper's light green eyes lit up. "What a great idea," she said. She sauntered to her side of the room and reached for one of the week's worth of sleeping masks that hung from the wall on pretty pegs before kicking off her slippers, pulling on the mask, and curling up on her chaise lounge. She arranged a loosely knit pale green blanket over her. Within arm's reach of her lounge were a basket of hollow diaries for jotting down dreams and a large bouquet of glittery coral-colored flowers, which perfumed the room with an almost magical fragrance. Piper inhaled deeply. She said sleepily. Vega tried as hard as she could not to roll her eyes at her roommate. Not that Piper could see from under the sleeping mask anyways. Who needed to take an after-meditation nap? Wasn't that redundant? But then she immediately felt bad. From day one, it had been quite obvious that ethereal Piper and practical Vega were complete opposites. Vega was direct and serious, and she liked rules. Piper was emotional, otherworldly, and unhurried. But they quickly learned that they had a common love of order, and that they often saw situations from two very different angles, which gave them a multi-dimensional view on many issues. Soon they developed a grudging admiration for each other. It was a struggle sometimes, but they made it work. But then, as Vega recalled, things had changed dramatically. They had gone to bed planning a hike to the Crystal Mountains, debating what to bring for lunch, and had woken up the next morning scowling at each other. Piper had started relaying the previous night's dream, which apparently had featured Vega in a starring and not very flattering role. And Vega had just cut her off. Now relations between the two were chilly, though usually polite. She could tell it pained the sensitive Piper, and it wasn't pleasant for Vega either, but there didn't seem to be anything that they could do to fix it. Piper raised her eye mask and looked at Vega. "Are you going to band rehearsal?" she asked. "You're a regular detective," Vega heard herself say, an edge to her voice as she held up her guitar case. Piper gave a thin-lipped smile and pulled the mask back over her eyes. Immediately feeling guilty for her rudeness, Vega quickly opened the sliding door, walked out, closed it, and stepped onto the dorm's cosmic transporter, a moving sidewalk that ran through it. Unbeknownst to each other, once they were alone, the two girls gave simultaneous sighs of relief. Chapter 2. Okay, so that was Chapter 1 of Vega and the Fashion Disaster. Tomorrow we'll start Chapter 2.